During a level 10 typhoon, my husband abandoned me in the raging storm all night for his childhood sweetheart. I filed for divorce as soon as I got away. I won't hold back on anything that rightfully belongs to me. I originally wanted to take our son with me, but the biological son is just like his father. Knowing I was about to leave, he looked at me with disdain and said, "Come on, you're throwing a tantrum now, but when you're crying to see me later, don't expect me to pay any attention to you." Later, after cutting ties with both father and son, I lived a life of unparalleled freedom. But this father and son duo keep loitering around my door every day. "We were wrong. Please come back. Hey, this is a private gathering. Don't just barge in," at Fu Qian's birthday party. I completely ignored the security guard's obstruction and pushed the door open to enter the private room. Fu Qian was holding a wine glass, chatting and laughing with the people around him, and his childhood sweetheart. Bai Qiu followed closely behind him, resembling a bride toasting with guests. When he saw it was me, Fu Qian's movements instantly froze, and the entire noisy room fell into complete silence. They all looked at me somewhat awkwardly, simply because, as Fu Qian's wife, I didn't even have the right to attend this birthday party. Fu Qian comes from a family of lawyers, inherited the family law firm at a young age, and is also a well-known elite lawyer in the industry. Everyone present were his employees and friends. Isn't this attorney Fu's wife? To be honest, she looks like a typical housewife, nowhere near as elegant as Miss Bai Qiu. Is it appropriate to say that, "Hey, what's the big deal? Can't you tell Miss Bai Qiu is about to take her place?" Everyone was whispering to each other. A wave of sorrow welled up inside me. It's been almost 10 years since I got married, and I've been a housewife for nearly a decade. I'm mentally and physically exhausted. And I've lost the charm I used to have. Of course, I don't have Bai Qiu's graceful elegance. The other day, we experienced a typhoon that occurs only once in several decades. I got trapped under a bridge by the typhoon while trying to buy a limited edition blind box for my son. In the fierce wind and heavy rain, my car stalled in the floodwater. In despair, I tearfully called my husband for help. He didn't answer my phone calls all night. Fortunately, I was rescued by kind-hearted people. Only after returning home did I learn that he had driven dozens of kilometers all night, simply because he was worried about Bai Qiu attending her girls' gathering. "What are you doing here?" Fu Qian frowned at me. I interrupted him directly and handed him the divorce agreement I was holding. "Let's get a divorce." Fu Qian didn't take it, nor did he look at it, just kept a cold expression. "Today is my birthday. If you want to make a scene, do it at home. Don't embarrass yourself here." In his eyes, this was just another one of my attention-seeking behaviors. "I don't have time to fool around with you. Take a look, and if there are no issues, sign it quickly." I persistently continued to hold the divorce agreement in front of him. Fu Qian finally couldn't sit still anymore. He looked at me suspiciously a few times, then quickly skimmed through it with his head lowered. "Hair, property, savings, cars, you're asking for quite a lot." I made it very clear. "I want 20 million in shared marital assets, along with 2 properties and 1 car. I added one more sentence. "It's not too much. The most important thing is left for you." He froze. "What is it?" I spoke calmly. "The son. I don't want him anymore. He's yours. Joyu, are you crazy? Listen to yourself. Is that something a mother should say?" Fu Qian finally couldn't hold back and raised his voice to shout. "Hey, Qian, don't get so worked up. It's your birthday." His good friend Lu Yang quickly pulled him aside. "I know this person. He seems to be his university classmate. But they're birds of a feather. He often stirs up trouble between my husband and me. Didn't you use your son to force the marriage back then? Are you willing to give him up now?" Fu Qian looked at me with a cold, mocking gaze. "Yes, when I first told him I was pregnant." But Fu Qian just sneered. "Did you skip the pills on purpose? Trying to marry me with such a low trick? Isn't that a bit cheap?" I can still recall his heartless, icy expression in my midnight dreams. But the tender and affectionate man he once was clearly wasn't like this. In the end, I insisted on having the child. And his family did indeed push him to marry me quickly because of this son. Looking back now, this was probably the worst decision I ever made. My parents passed away when I was very young. No one took care of me. I went to prenatal checkups alone, stayed in the hospital for delivery alone, and went through postpartum confinement alone. It seemed he was angry that I made the decision to have a child on my own. He didn't even allow me to hire a postpartum caregiver. It wasn't until the baby was almost a week old that Fu Qian finally came home, and he brought back a flashily dressed woman. He didn't come to see me first, nor did he even check on the baby, how he looked or whether he was healthy. I carefully carried my son over, wanting to let him take a look, but I saw him with that woman, flipping through an old photo album in the study. "Chocho, look, this was when we first met. You were still shy and too embarrassed to call me senior back then." Fu Qian's tone was one of tenderness and affection that I had never heard before. Bai Qiu snuggled up beside him, giggling. "Senior, you're teasing me again. You were blushing and flustered back then too. And you didn't even dare to look me in the eye." They reminisced about the past, talking back and forth, while my heart felt as cold as if it had been doused with icy water. Bai Qiu suddenly asked, "Aren't you going to see your child?" Fu Qian's tone instantly darkened. "I'd rather it wasn't my child. I'd rather it wasn't my child." In one sentence, all my little expectations were instantly extinguished. I cried and carried the child back to the room alone. I don't understand. If he really doesn't love me, why does he still stay with me? Later, someone told me that the woman by Fu Qian's side is named Bai Qiu, his junior from school. She was also his first love. Then, the son slowly grew up, and I named him Fu Chen. Fu Qian didn't seem to love him. At first, whenever Fu Chen felt wronged in front of him, he would always clutch his little toy, crying, and run back to me. I comforted him. "It's okay, Chen Chen has his mom, and mom will always love you." I thought that my son and I could keep each other warm and rely on each other for survival, but as he grew older, he gradually began to dislike my closeness. He even started hiding from me and asking his dad to attend parent-teacher meetings instead, until one time, the teacher called me and said that Fu Chen didn't follow the group after school and sneaked away on his own. I searched from almost afternoon until early morning, only to find that Fu Chen had already returned home. He was still holding a lot of junk food that I usually don't allow him to eat. Frantically worried, I asked him what happened, and my son looked completely indifferent. "Why are you yelling at me? Aunt Xiaoqiu took me out to have fun and bought me lots of delicious snacks. Do you know how much I hate you? All you ever do is boss me around." I looked at this son of mine, whom I had carried for 10 difficult months and raised with my own hands, attending to every little detail since he was born. He was actually starting to dislike me, just like his father. Later, Fu Chen once again went on a vacation to another city with Bai Qiu without telling me. I was tidying up his messy room while tears streamed down my face. I noticed his usually tightly locked notebook was left wide open on the desk. I don't like prying into my child's privacy. But with just that unintentional glance as I closed the notebook, I was instantly struck as if by lightning. Mom is ugly and mean, but Aunt Xiaoqiu is so much better. I hope she can soon replace that annoying old woman and become my new mom. I endured countless disdainful looks and cold treatment from Fu Qian for his sake. I suffered so much during pregnancy and childbirth. Later, I poured all my effort into taking care of him and being good to him. Result, only to be met with such a statement. "You can still regret it now. For the sake of our many years of affection, I'll give you one chance to change your mind." Fu Qian curled his lips into a smirk, looking at me with mockery. In his eyes, I have always been that gold-digging woman who would go to any lengths to marry him. "No, I've made up my mind. I don't want him." It seemed my attitude was too resolute, as Fu Qian looked somewhat shocked. At that time, Fu Qian and I had already been in a relationship for 3 years. His family kept urging him to get married quickly, but he always brushed it off with various excuses. I asked him a few times, and he became furious with me. "How have you become like this? Does getting married or not affect our relationship?" Later, I suddenly found out I was pregnant, and his anger reached its peak. "You just want to use this child to threaten me, don't you? Let me tell you, even if you manage to squeeze into the Fu family, I won't acknowledge you as my wife." I once foolishly believed that it was my persistence that had turned the once gentle Fu Qian into this. It was only later that I found out, he was just waiting for Bai Qiu to change her mind. That day when Bai Qiu rejected the offer to stay for graduate school and went overseas, Fu Qian, who had always turned me down, suddenly agreed to my confession. Back then, I foolishly thought that my sincerity had finally moved him. I just picked up the trash that Bai Qiu discarded. Fu Qian stared at me intently. I didn't dodge or evade, meeting his gaze directly. I had already forgotten. How long has it been since he last looked at me so directly? Suddenly, Fu Qinian slammed his glass heavily onto the table and grabbed my wrist tightly. Fu Qinian, am not a fool who can be threatened by a woman with divorce. I'll give you one last chance. Think carefully. You went through so much trouble back then just to marry me, didn't you? Using this tactic now will only make me despise you even more. He glared at me with a fierce look in his eyes. I didn't say a word, only made a gesture inviting him to sign. Fu Qinian angrily shook off my hand and quickly signed his name on the divorce agreement. Fine, right here in front of all these people. I agree to it. After signing, as if to humiliate me, he slapped the items in his hand against my chest. This is what you asked for. If you run into any trouble in the future, don't come begging me, and I hope you won't regret the decision you made today. After saying that, he glared at me fiercely once more. Bai Qiu, with her pretentious and hypocritical tone, added fuel to the fire from the side. Sister Qiaoyu, thank you for giving up such a good man like Qinian to me. If it were the old me, I would definitely feel ashamed and angry, but now, I just smiled faintly. I don't have the habit of picking up trash. If you like it, take it. Bai Qiu's face stiffened. But I didn't give her a chance and directly continued speaking to Fu Qinian. Don't worry, I definitely won't regret it. At the same time, I hope you will fulfill the contract according to the agreement. Although you are a lawyer, I can afford a better lawyer to sue you. After saying that, I turned and left the private room without looking at Fu Qinian's expression. I didn't even need to look. I guessed his expression must be very unpleasant, but what does that have to do with me? While still waiting for the elevator not far away, I overheard the conversation between Lu Yang and Fu Qian coming from the private room. Have you really decided to divorce her? For some reason, Lu Yang's tone seemed a bit happy. I thought Fu Qian would firmly admit it, but he remained silent for a moment. I'll just sign it to deal with it for now. She's a bit stubborn, so let's just get through this first. Just wait and see, she'll be back begging for my forgiveness within 3 days. Lu Yang seemed to get worked up. Aren't you just making a fool of yourself in front of everyone? I don't understand what's so special about a woman like Qiaoyu that you can't let go of her. I couldn't help but curl the corner of my mouth. Fu Qian, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you. Lu Yang is Fu Qian's university classmate and seems to have witnessed all the moments between Fu Qian and Bai Qiu. Moreover, he seems to dislike me every time Fu Qian and I argue. Not only does he not try to mediate, but he adds fuel to the fire, as if he's afraid we won't break up. How could a true friend wish for his good friend's family to fall apart? Stop talking. I don't know if it's my imagination, but I seem to sense a hint of restlessness in Fu Qian's voice. But the elevator had already arrived, and I had no interest in listening to them continue their conversation. After I got home, I immediately started packing my things. I never expected that Fu Qian would actually come back. Usually, when he attends these kinds of parties, he stays out until the early hours of the morning and has never come home this early before. Are you really crazy? You want to leave home? Fu Qian asked me with disbelief. He probably doesn't believe that I can leave him and our son behind and become an independent person again. I zipped up the last suitcase without looking up. Fu Qian, do you think I'm playing house with you? As stated in the agreement, our son is yours alone from now on. Don't contact me unless it's necessary. Without waiting for him to respond, I dragged my suitcase and left. Hey, you don't want this anymore. Fu Qian grabbed a necklace and blocked my path. His expression seemed somewhat urgent and fierce. I glanced at it. When we first got married, Fu Qian didn't go with me to pick out wedding rings. We just had a pair of very simple plain bands made. Later, probably because he felt it was too embarrassing, on my birthday he had a custom-made pink diamond necklace worth over 100,000 made for me. I was overjoyed, and from then on, no matter the occasion, except when showering, this necklace always sparkled brightly around my neck. No, it's an eyesore. I pushed Fu Qinian aside and headed straight for the door. My son was still awake at this hour, lying on the sofa in a twisted, awkward position while watching cartoons. I've taught him since he was little to sit properly, otherwise he could develop spinal curvature at a young age, and it would be hard to correct later. But after spending some time with Bai Qiu, he's gotten used to lounging and rolling around without any sense of posture. I said too much, and he scolded me, calling me an annoying old witch. It's just as well, I won't interfere anymore from now on. Seeing that I was about to leave without saying a word, Fu Chen suddenly paused the cartoon and glanced at me a few times. Where are you going? By the way, I forgot to tell you, your father and I are divorced. You're with him. Since you've always disliked me anyway, you don't need to call me Mom anymore. Really? Fu Chen's eyes suddenly lit up, and he actually smiled. Does that mean Aunt Xiaoqiu can be my mom now? That's great. He burst into laughter and turned the cartoon back on. He then casually picked up a snack from the side and started eating. When Fu Chen was a child, he had poor teeth and often visited the dentist. The doctor said he was born with weak tooth enamel and needed to eat less sweets and brush his teeth more often. This is also one of the reasons why I don't want him to eat junk food, but Bai Qiu continuously buys sweet snacks for the home. These days, I have already noticed several blackened cavities in Fu Chen's teeth, but what does this have to do with me? I pulled my suitcase and left home without any further attachment. I hailed a taxi and went straight to the hotel I had booked. I reserved a suite here for a month, planning to relax and unwind thoroughly. From now on, I never want to be anyone's nanny again in my life. Although Fu Qian wasn't a qualified husband, at least he was a decent man. He quickly transferred the money specified in the agreement to me. Since the RV was already registered under my name, there was no need to transfer the ownership. It had been years since I last dressed up properly. My first stop was the largest commercial center, where I planned to buy a few sets of clothes and some cosmetics to help me regain the beauty I once had, just as I was hesitating whether to find a dessert shop to take a break after buying a pile of things. A little girl suddenly hugged my leg and burst into loud sobs. She looked a few years younger than Fu Chen. I finally managed to calm her down with some candy I had just bought, and she told me her name was Lele. Lele, be good. How about Auntie takes you to the broadcasting station to find your mom and dad? Lele suddenly opened her big eyes wide and stared straight at me. My heart skipped a beat, and I felt a bit dazed. There was a time when Fu Chen looked at me with that same gaze. It was the purest love and attachment, as if I were the only angel in this world who could protect him. Mommy is gone. Only Daddy is here. Lele hugged my leg tightly and suddenly started rubbing back and forth. My heart sank again, and I quickly picked up the child. I never expected this poor child to have such a tragic background. We broadcast the missing person announcement several times over the public address system. Soon, a man came running over, panting heavily. Thank you, thank you. I just turned around and the child ran off. It was terrifying. The man looked at me and suddenly froze. I was also taken aback. This man is none other than Fu Qian's university classmate, Lu Yang, that despicable man who has been constantly sowing discord. I handed the child to him without any expression on my face. You should keep a close eye on your own child. If they happen to encounter bad people, they won't be waiting here for you to pick them up. But I never expected that Lele would hold onto my neck tightly and not let go. Mommy. Lu Yang's face instantly turned somewhat awkward. I'm sorry, this child has never seen his mother since he was little. I wouldn't want to cause any misunderstanding. I shook my head, cutting him off. There's no misunderstanding. Once we've waited through the cooling off period, he and I will have nothing to do with each other. But you, this is the first time I've heard you have a daughter. Lu Yang was taken aback for a moment, patted Lele's head, and said nothing. Perhaps there was some unspeakable reason, but I don't have the habit of prying into others' privacy. This child is frightened, but she might calm down soon. If you don't mind, I'll take her to get something to eat and rest for a while. Once she's settled, she can go home with you. I genuinely started to feel some pity for this adorable child. Lu Yang looked somewhat embarrassed. But seeing Lele clinging to me without letting go, he could only nod. Then I'll trouble you with this. I went to a nearby dessert shop and ordered something suitable for a child for Lele. Lu Yang kept sneaking glances at me. I raised an eyebrow and shot back a look. What? Are you afraid I'll go back to Fu Qian and ruin his and Bai Qiu's plans? Don't worry, I would never go back to my ex. No, that's not what I meant. It's just that I always felt he didn't love you, rather than tormenting you. It's better to let go early, Lu Yang stammered as he spoke. Besides, Bai Qiu is, after all, my junior, and I did like her for a while, but it's all truly in the past. I just don't want you to drift further apart in a wrong and mutually tormenting relationship. It's not good for anyone. Forget it. It's all the same. There's no need to talk about the past. I shook my head and continued feeding Lele. Watching Lele being fed bite by me, Lu Yang couldn't help but smile. It seems this child really likes you. Since you and Qian, Miss Chiao, I finally found you. Lu Yang's words were abruptly cut off by a sudden voice. I was taken aback. It was old Ma, Fu Qian's driver. Is something wrong? The driver was a bit nervous, his face covered in sweat. I tried calling you many times but couldn't get through, so I had to come find you directly. I'm really sorry. Please go to the hospital quickly. The young master had a severe allergic reaction to food. Went into shock and was hospitalized. It's really critical. I originally wanted to refuse outright. Lu Yang looked at me. Anaphylactic shock is very dangerous, and if not handled properly, it could be life-threatening. If you don't go check, you might regret it for the rest of your life. I hesitated for a moment. After all, that was the child I had carried for 10 months. Even though I have completely lost hope in him and have no feelings left, since it's a matter of life and death, I might as well go take a look. But Lele, I wanted to leave Lele with Lu Yang. After all, the hospital is no place for a child. However, the moment Lele noticed I was letting go of her, she started crying uncontrollably, helpless. I had to seek Lu Yang's permission and ended up taking Lele along with the driver. Fortunately, when I arrived at the hospital, Fu Chen was already out of danger. The doctor looked at me. Are you her mother? I glanced at Bai Qiu beside me. Yes, but the child is currently living with his father and stepmother. The doctor couldn't help but frown and glance at Bai Qiu. The child is allergic to mangoes, so why did he eat so many? I was momentarily stunned. Fu Chen has been unable to eat mangoes since childhood, and Bai Qiu is well aware of this. If someone consumes so much in one go and claims it wasn't intentional, who would believe it? Bai Qiu scoffed, looking completely indifferent. He was the one who was desperately craving it. I couldn't even stop him. So how is it my fault? Probably thinking she's now firmly in position, she doesn't even bother pretending to be a stepmother anymore. I was just about to scold her when the driver hurried out of the hospital room. The young master has woken up. I saw Fu Chen lying weakly on the hospital bed, his entire body seemingly swollen, his eyes narrowed to slits. He struggled to turn his head, and as soon as he saw me, he burst into tears. Mom, I feel so awful. I don't want to drink mango juice. She said there was nothing else at home and poured me a huge glass. I couldn't finish it and felt terrible, but she still scolded me for wasting things. Boo-hoo. Lele in my arms was startled by Fu Chen's appearance and hid in my embrace, whimpering a few times. Mommy is scared. Fu Chen seemed to have just noticed that I was holding this child. You're talking nonsense. This is my mom. Despite his physical weakness, he tried to get up, but he was too weak to move, only tears streaming down his face. Mom, why is this child calling you Mom? I'm your only child. Say something. Is that true or not? Before I had a chance to notify Fu Qian, he called me first. Hey, I heard from Lu Yang that Chen Chen had an accident. Why didn't you call me? Hearing his roaring voice, I instinctively felt disgusted. I'm not your child's guardian. Why should I call you? You might as well ask who he was with when the accident happened. I replied coldly, no longer willing to indulge him. Bai Qiu was staring at me coldly from a corner. I shifted my gaze, and she responded with an eye roll. I hung up the phone, walked over, and raised my hand to slap her. She immediately screamed, "You crazy woman, what are you doing?" I sneered coldly. Although I don't want him anymore, Fu Chen is still my own child. What you did was premeditated murder. And I didn't hit you hard enough. Bai Qiu's face flushed red as she wanted to hit me. I grabbed her wrist and slapped her again. She completely lost control and cried out loudly, "How dare you hit me? Just wait until Qian comes. If he finds out you laid a hand on me, he won't let you get away with it. Are you really that stupid or just pretending? He only has this one son. You almost got Fu Chen killed. Do you really think Fu Qian would still help you?" Hearing my words, Bai Qiu trembled instantly, but she still stubbornly insisted, putting on a brave face, "Don't think this will scare me. You, bad woman, don't talk to my mom." Suddenly, a pillow came flying fiercely toward Bai Qiu. She screamed again, frightened by the pillow, and retreated 2 steps back. "Young master." With the driver's exclamation, Fu Chen suddenly leaped up with force, lunging straight toward me. Even the 4-needle in his hand was torn out. He used all his strength to hit and curse at Bai Qiu. And when restrained, he resorted to spitting as an attack. I hate you. My tooth is broken and it hurts, and you won't even take me to the doctor. You only let the family cook what you like to eat. I'm hungry every day. I hate you so much." The commotion scared Lele, who was in my arms. She shrank back and hugged my neck tightly. "I'm so scared. Mommy, let's go home. Find Daddy." I figured Fu Qian would come as soon as he heard the news, and Fu Chen seemed quite lively at the moment. So I nodded and prepared to take Lele and leave the hospital first, but I had only taken one step when Fu Chen threw himself on the floor and grabbed my leg. The needle mark from the four he had forcibly pulled out was still bleeding continuously. I have never seen Fu Chen cry like this. "Mom, you don't want me anymore. You have other children. Save me. This woman will really kill me." I was holding Lele and couldn't pull him away, but I don't know what to say. This child has long broken my heart. It's only because Bai Qiu has now revealed his true colors that he misses how good I used to be. I looked at the driver and the nurse with a pleading expression. They quickly came over and pulled Fu Chen away, allowing me to successfully escape. When leaving the hospital room, Bai Qiu stared at me with reddened eyes. The spot where I had been hit earlier had already swollen up. "Did you play some trick? Why is Qian still so distant with me even after you left?" I was a bit surprised, but still found it amusing. "You've already moved into my house to take care of my son. What more do you want? He and I are still in the cooling off period. Do you expect him to marry you right now?" "No, that's not it." Bai Qiu suddenly paused, looking at me with an extremely unwilling expression. "He never gave me any hope. He just wanted me to take care of Fu Chen first. You're uglier than me and less educated than me. All you did was give birth to a son. Do you really think you're something special?" Watching the woman's hysterical state, I shook my head, afraid of scaring Lele again, and turned to leave. When did Bai Qiu start getting jealous over me? I find it quite amusing. If it were in the past, I would have been smug about it for a long time. But now, I don't care anymore. I completely don't care about Fu Qian anymore. I had walked quite far away, but could still hear Bai Qiu's hysterical screams. It was as if she had gone mad. Fu Qian arrived very quickly, and we happened to run into each other at the hospital entrance. What does he want to say to me? His gaze shifts to Enon in my arms. "Hurry inside and check on your son, and your little girlfriend too. They've both gone crazy." I stopped him from speaking just in time. "She's not my little girlfriend." Fu Qian looked at me with a somewhat complicated expression, but seeing that I was in no mood to pay attention to him, he rushed straight into the hospital. My phone suddenly beeped. It was a message from Lu Yang. "Sorry, I should have been here earlier, but something came up and delayed me. I'm heading to the hospital to pick up Lele now. Could you please wait a little longer for me?" There's a large fountain at the hospital entrance, and many people throw coins into it to make wishes. Lele was enjoying the view, so I stayed with her there to wait for Lu Yang. Suddenly, I had a stroke of inspiration and handed Lele a coin. "Do you have a wish? You can make one." Lele's eyes suddenly lit up as she devoutly held the coin. She looked at me, closed her eyes. "I wish that Mom could come home with me." As he spoke, he tossed the coin directly in. For a moment, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but I also felt a pang of sadness. I couldn't help but think that Lu Yang was really a scoundrel. Such a young child without a mother's care was truly pitiful. "Haha, that sounds exactly like the kind of wish she would make." Lu Yang's voice suddenly came from behind me. I look up. "Lele is in a much better mood now. You can take her home." Lu Yang looked at me, then at Lele, as if he wanted to say something. "Well, Lele isn't actually my child. Her parents passed away a long time ago." I was taken aback, seemingly not expecting him to bring this up so suddenly. Lu Yang continued, "Lele's father was my childhood friend. Both he and his wife were police officers. My friend sacrificed his life during a covert operation. When Lele was just 1 year old, his wife was killed by a criminal while bravely intervening in a situation on her way home from work late at night." As he spoke about this, Lu Yang's voice grew somewhat hoarse. I marveled at Lele's background while also feeling a bit puzzled as to why Lu Yang was explaining this to me. "I'm sorry for your loss." I thought for a moment and could only come up with this response. "Alright, then I'll take you home first." Lu Yang also let out a bitter laugh and shook the car keys in his hand. "The hotel I'm staying at isn't too far from the hospital, it's just a short walk away." I was just about to refuse when someone suddenly grabbed my shoulder from behind. The familiar woody scent, it was Fu Qian. A chill ran through me, and I instinctively shook off his hand in disgust. Seeing my resistant movement, whether it was an illusion or not, I actually saw a look of surprised sadness on Fu Qian's face for the first time. He glanced at the child in my arms and frowned. "Why is Lei with you? Give him back to Lu Yang." Hearing his accusatory tone, my anger instantly flared up. I was just about to explain when Lei, a bit frightened, nestled against my neck. "Mean mommy," scared, hearing the child call me mommy. Fu Qian's face instantly darkened even more. "When did you two get together? Is this why you got divorced?" Lu Yang saw this and quickly stepped in between. "Are you crazy? Lei just met Xiao Yu today, and you even suspect me, for God's sake." Lu Yang cursed and tried to grab Lei, but suddenly froze for a moment. "Watch out." I didn't understand what he meant, but there was a strange feeling behind me that instantly made my hair stand on end. I instinctively held the child in my arms tighter. A flower pot fell from the sky and directly hit my shoulder. The excruciating pain of my bones shattering made me pass out instantly. In my last moment of consciousness, I heard Fu Qian's heart-wrenching scream, "Xiao Yu." When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. A sharp pain throbbed in my shoulder, and Fu Qian gently held my hand, brushing aside my stray hair. I don't know how long I was unconscious, but he seemed to have aged considerably overnight. His face was pale, with dark circles under his eyes. "Don't worry, you've had surgery, it's a fracture, nothing else is wrong." As if afraid that speaking would tire me out, he quickly explained to me first. Even his voice was trembling. "Lei." I strained my hoarse throat to ask. When Fu Qian heard me asking about Lei's condition, his expression darkened momentarily. "She's perfectly fine. You risked your life to protect her. How could anything happen to her? Anyone in that situation would instinctively try to protect a child. I don't know what is being so sarcastic about." I shook my head slightly, which tugged at my wound, and I couldn't help but grimace. "Don't move, don't move." Fu Qian immediately made a fuss and supported me, poured a cup of warm water from the side, dipped a cotton swab in the water, and gently fed me. "You don't need to be here, go take care of your son. He's not safe around Bai Qiu." I somewhat awkwardly turned my head away. At the mention of Bai Qiu's name, Fu Qian's eyes instantly turned as sharp as a knife. "Do you know how that flower pot fell?" I was taken aback. The spot where I was standing was directly below Fu Qian's hospital room. Could it have been her? My heart jolted violently. I only knew she wanted to take my place and steal Fu Qian away, but I never imagined she could be so vicious as to want my life. Fu Qian clenched his fists, the sound of his knuckles cracking echoing in the air. "It was her. I've already reported it to the police and just returned from the station." Lu Yang also walked in from outside, holding Lei. As soon as Lei saw me, she pouted, looking like she was about to cry. Lu Yang looked at me, his eyes seeming somewhat red. "Xiao Yu, I'm sorry for always being so self-righteous before. I thought you were suffering too much by being with Qian, and that he and Bai Qiu were tormenting each other and couldn't be together. I was too clever for my own good." Speaking, he hesitated and glanced at Fu Qian. "I happened to investigate something about how Bai Qiu gave up his guaranteed graduate spot and suddenly left back then." Fu Qian's eyes flickered, but he didn't speak. Lu Yang let out a long sigh. "When she was with you, she was actually being kept by a wealthy foreign businessman who promised her that as long as she was willing to stay with him until his old age, billions in assets would be hers. She lied to you about studying abroad, but in reality, she went to be with that wealthy businessman. However, who knew that this businessman already had a wife? After he died, his legal wife immediately took control of all the money, and Bai Qiu ended up with nothing. So she thought of you again and came back to get close to you." The more he spoke, the uglier Fu Qian's expression became. He suddenly leaned back, wearily resting against the chair. "Stop talking." He tightly covered his face, reflecting the sunlight. I seemed to see large teardrops rolling down his face. "I'm sorry. It's my fault. Xiao Yu, can you forgive me one more time? Just give me one chance." He began to sob and cry. "After all these years, this is the first time I've seen this man cry so uncontrollably." During the days of my recovery, Fu Qian brought Fu Chen to see me every day. "Honey, please forgive me one more time. I was too harsh before. I was a scumbag. From now on, I swear on my life to treat you well. Mom, I miss you so much. I am your own son after all. Do you really not want me anymore?" The father and son cried by my bedside every day. It really annoys me to hear it, and without exception, I drove both of them away. In front of me, they either cried or apologized, but my heart remained as still as dead water, completely unmoved. It's because Bai Chio is such a terrible person that they feel so remorseful and remember my kindness. But what if Bai Chio were a good person? Am I really supposed to be kicked out by this father and son? I see everything clearly. They don't love me, they just love my selfless devotion to them. Later, when my injuries improved a bit, I simply asked Liu Yang for help and transferred to another hospital, finally getting some peace and quiet. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, somehow, Fu Qian found out I had been hospitalized here. It was a perfectly sunny day, but seeing them instantly put me in a less cheerful mood. Fu Qian was holding a large bouquet of roses, while Fu Chen held a smaller bouquet of carnations. The two of them, one tall and one short, walked toward me. Fu Qian gazed at me affectionately. "Darling, please give me another chance. For the rest of my life, I'm willing to love you with everything I have." Fu Chen also looked at me with pleading eyes. "Mom, I know I was wrong. I promise I'll be obedient and study hard from now on. I got trapped under a bridge due to a typhoon while trying to buy my son his favorite limited edition blind box. I'm speechless. I thought to myself in an instant, he kept saying he loved me. Yet he used this blatant emotional blackmail in broad daylight to force me to back down. Without even glancing at them, I walked straight to the car waiting for me ahead. They both turned around and looked at me in astonishment. The onlookers also erupted in boos. That guy clearly did something bad. This young lady did the right thing. Exactly. Otherwise she wouldn't be so ruthless. Of course, there were bound to be some negative comments mixed in. Couples should at least take care of their children when they argue. The poor kid looks so pitiful, but I simply didn't want to pay any attention. I now understand very clearly that my life is in my own hands. Whatever others say has nothing to do with me anymore. In the driver's seat sat the silent Liu Yang. He didn't say a word and, as we had agreed, took me directly to the airport. Liu Yang didn't ask any unnecessary questions along the way, busying himself with helping me check in my luggage. It wasn't until I was about to enter the security checkpoint that he looked at me with some bitterness. "Really, won't you stay a little longer?" Seeing my determined expression, he changed his tune. "Then Lele and I will come visit you." I gave a faint smile and waved my hand. "I'll come to see Lele. There's no need for you to trouble yourselves. After all, I'm not her real mother, and it's not good for her to become too dependent on me." My words completely cut off Liu Yang's thoughts. I could tell that for years, he had been urging me to divorce Fu Qian. He had feelings for me. He often came to see me during this period and truly helped me a lot, but I couldn't forgive his past behavior, nor the things he said in front of Fu Qian. Loving someone doesn't mean arrogantly doing things that would actually harm them. "Goodbye," I smiled, waved my hand, and turned to enter the security checkpoint. Outside the floor-to-ceiling window, the roar of airplanes and the bursts of sunlight. Yes, it's time to start a new chapter in life.